Okay, one of my viewers asked me, how is homosexuality viewed in Japan? So to answer that question, first you need to understand that, well, if you're a Westerner, you're coming from a Christian-based society, and here in Japan it's a Buddhist-based society. But actually, even though Japanese people are considered Buddhist, they don't actively practice Buddhism. They just follow the customs and the holidays like that, but they don't really know about Buddhism in depth. Okay? So if you're comparing this to the United States, I'm from the United States, a lot of traditional Christians view homosexuality as a sin. And that's because of the way they were brought up and what Christianity has so-called taught them. And that concept of sin, that gay is wrong, that it's sinful, it just doesn't exist here in Japan. Okay, but the thing in Japan is that there is a supposed to model way of life. And what I mean by that is, like, if, for example, if you're a Japanese man, you are supposed to go to college after high school. After college, you're supposed to join a company. You're supposed to work at that company for 30 years until you retire. You're supposed to have a family. You're supposed to have children. You're supposed to buy a house. And the list goes on and on and on. And in that regards, Japan's supposed to model, I think, is a lot stronger than our supposed to model in the United States. Of course, in the United States we have our own supposed to model, but I think Americans are more flexible in that sense compared to Japan. But going on that, because of this strong supposed to model in Japan, it's difficult for gay Japanese people to come out, and they don't come out just for the exact same reasons that Americans have trouble coming out, which is because they're afraid that their family will reject them, that their friends will not accept them anymore. So it's for the exact same reasons. And then here in Japan, it's looked down upon to be different, to be eccentric or unique. There's a saying in Japan that says, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. So if you're gay, you stick out, you're different from everybody, and Japanese society doesn't like things that are different. So that's another factor. And then as far as being gay in Japan, there is a gay organization or organizations, I was told. There's a gay parade in Tokyo. Here in Kansai, Kansai is the Kobe, Kyoto, Osaka region of Japan. Here in Kansai, I never see men holding hands or kissing in public. I know we have a district in Osaka, and probably in Kyoto too, I would imagine, where there's gay clubs and bars and things like that. But in public, I never see gay men showing affection. Sometimes when I go to the pier here in Kobe, I see women holding hands or kissing, but it's very rare. And if you do that here in Japan, you will get stared at. So it's not just, I guess, gay people that are so-called in the closet here in Japan, but sex is not discussed openly here in Japan. But at the same time, it's not considered sinful or wrong. People just don't talk about, like, if they've had sex before marriage or how many sex partners they've had. People just don't talk about that. But at the same time, it's not really considered bad or wrong if you do have sex before marriage, or if you're screwing everybody you can get on top of. It's just like ignored. It's an ignored topic, and a lot of people are humping A lot of people are humping and getting busy and doing the breeding thing, but it's happening. And I mean, homosexuality is just the same. It's probably, I'm not in the what do you call it, the homosexual undercurrent of Japan, but I can imagine it's probably pretty strong, and I'm sure there's other foreigners or other Japanese who would have a lot more information on the you know, what's really going on in terms of, you know, the gay scene here in Japan. Okay, and another thing is, my Japanese friends told me that there's a difference between the way gay Westerners are perceived and gay Japanese are perceived. So there's a lot of gayness, homosexuality displayed in the Western media. You know, in movies there's always gay characters. And Japanese people feel that homosexuality is pretty open in the West because of the media. Okay, so they just think that it's normal for Western people to be gay. They just see it as a fact of life. But here in Japan, it's been hush-hush in the media. But in recent years, gay entertainers have become more and more popular. But here in Japan, in terms of gay entertainment, it's still pretty stereotypical, like it is in the United States. You know, gay people on TV are always portrayed as having a lisp and having feminine gestures. And I don't like gay people to be portrayed that way all the time. It really irritates me, and I think it might be demeaning to some gay people. I think it's kind of a childish, immature way to you know, represent all gay people. And you know, when Japanese people see that kind of behavior, they snicker just the same way Americans do. So, you know, Japanese people's mentality is still on the same level as Americans in that regards. So to wrap things up, if you're a foreigner and you're worried about being gay in Japan, I would say, in general, don't worry about it. I mean, Japanese people, like I said, they don't have that Christian background where they're like, they hate gay people on a visceral level because they think it's a sin. That just doesn't exist here. You don't have to worry about that. And that's one great thing about Japan in regards to sex overall. It's just very open, so to speak. It's under the covers, it's under the current, it's under the covers of society, but it's very open, if you kind of can get what I'm saying. It's closed, but it's open. I don't know how to explain that better, but so if you're a foreigner coming here to Japan, I think you're really going to feel a big load off your shoulders, because people are not going to judge you. Now, if you're walking around with your boyfriend holding hands, people are going to stare at you, because that's just not something people do here. But nobody's going to shoot you. Most people don't have guns here. Guns are pretty much banned for the entire population, but nobody's going to beat you up. Nobody's going to call you names. Probably get whispers behind your, you know, behind your back, but that would happen even if you were Japanese. So, you know, if you're a foreigner, a Westerner, and you're coming to Japan, your biggest hurdle is not going to be an issue of being gay, but it's going to be the issue that you're a foreigner. That's the biggest hurdle you have to overcome, is being treated differently as a foreigner. People are going to stare at you just because you're a foreigner. It doesn't matter if you're gay or not. So I hope that answers some of your questions, and I'm out.